Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to Heart and Soul Take Control. My name is Hazel. I'm sorry it has been a little while since I last updated this podcast. Unfortunately, I just did not have the time to sit down and record. I've actually started a new position, so I was busy getting settled into that. But I am back, and I am here to help you guys learn more about how to use creativity and creative writing in order to create the life that you actually desire to live. So again, my name is Hazel. I'm a creative intuitive guide, and I'm here to just kind of help you using my experience with manifesting as well as my experience in the creative writing field. Now, today's episode is going to be how to create a you persona. So what do I mean by a you persona? Well, if you imagine any book or any video game or a lot of different platforms, when you first start off, you are given the option, a blank slate, a complete blank slate to create a character. Usually, you do this in parts. And what I'm going to be teaching you today is how you can use that sort of idea and that sort of template. We're going to do what I call a body scan, and that is going to be a head-to-toe evaluation of how you can take and make the persona that you are trying to identify with. This is all part of the first eye of the 3 eyes, which I mentioned in a previous episode. That is going to be your identify, imagine, and intend. Those are your 3 eyes. So this is part 1. This is sort of like your step 1. This is going to be an initiation into the first eye, which is identify. I didn't mean to rhyme, but it just did. It just flowed. So identify is going to be a 2-parter. So it's going to be creating your persona, which is creating your you persona. And then it's also going to be identifying the stories that you no longer resonate with, that you no longer wish to identify with, and how to move forward from that. That's going to be next episode. In this episode, it's mostly going to be a little bit about me explaining the body head to toe scan of how to implement this. And whether you're a creative writer or not, you can start doing this. If you are a creative writer and you've ever created a character, then chances are you already understand inherently how to do this sort of process. Again, if you've ever played any video games and you've ever created a character, an OC, etc., that's basically the concept that we're going to be going for. So, in starting with your body scan, this is going to be a 2-parter because you're going to first look at if you are a fictional creative person and you already know how to do this. Maybe you already have a character. That's fine. Even if you don't, you can still do this. If you do have a character established, if you've ever created a character, maybe it's a character that you game with, or maybe it's a character that you use in your own personal writing. That is my personal experience with this whole journey, is using creative writing and learning how adding that energy into my creative writing has helped me manifest various things in my life. So that's the experience that I say that I'm speaking from when I tell you I'm speaking from experience. So in my perception, you would take the character that you've already created, and if you don't have a character created, then that's fine. Stay tuned. But if you do already have a character created and you've already made a character, or you understand how to make a character, when you make your character, you identify all these different traits. You literally assign all of these different traits. It can be everything from the head to toe, physical appearance. It can be their personality, their zodiac, when they were born, what are their goals? What do they dream about doing? Things like that. That's basically what we're going to be breaking down. So if you already have a character in mind, then go ahead and take a look at that character. Take a deeper analysis of that character. We're going to do a body scan. For those of you who haven't ever created a character, you can feel free to skip ahead a little bit in this podcast because I'm going to be addressing how to do this from a blank slate as well. But if you have created a character, then you are going to... I'm sorry, I just got a notification from someone important. And I hope that if she's listening, she gets a shout out. But hi, Roxy, how are you? All right, so in the body scan, head to toe, what is your character thinking at all times? What do they wake up thinking? What are they thinking throughout their day? Chances are you want to identify with parts of your character. That's why you're here. You want to manifest that life for yourself because you've already seen it. You've already sort of had it come to life in front of you. You just haven't figured out how to implement it in your own life or how to make it yours. So if that's the case, and if I'm speaking to you, then you're going to start breaking it down, okay? For starters, what is your character thinking? What are they seeing? Okay, so what are they thinking? What are they thinking in their day-to-day life? What are they seeing? I literally mean, what are they seeing? What does their life look like from their perspective, from their eyes, from their eyesight? What are their visions of the future? Goals, aspirations, what are they hoping to accomplish? A lot of times in fiction, it could be something, completely mundane, like a daily chore or a daily task, but it could also be something exciting and adventurous. If that's something you want to accomplish in your own life, by all means, take this, identify with it. That is you now. What are they hearing? What is your character hearing? This one's not as important, but it can be, because once you involve all of your senses, once you involve all of your senses, then that's going to really flesh out this feeling of pure identification. So what are they hearing? What sensations come over them? What do they feel like? What does their world feel like? What do they feel like in their world? How do they perceive these things? How are they sensing? What are they sensing? And if you have parts of this that you don't wish to identify with, say your character has like something traumatic or something that, you don't really want to identify with, don't worry about that. Don't put that in here. You don't have to identify with that. But these are the things that are positive. What sensations? What do they feel? What are they thinking, seeing? What is their vision of the future? And then we move down. What are they saying? This is important. This crosses over because chances are a lot of times what your characters are saying is something you wish you could say, or is something that maybe you can't express in your real life. You're expressing it the only way you know how, through an outlet, through your character, through fiction. It doesn't have to be fiction. If there are parts of speeches that your character is giving, if there's things that motivate them to speaking their truth, and you wish to identify with that, then by all means, now that's your story. So what are they saying? What are they feeling overall? We're moving down again. What burdens are they carrying? Now, is this something that you've put on them? Is this something that's a part of their plot development? That's fine. But if this is something you don't want to identify with, don't put it on yourself. Don't put the burdens of your fictional creations on yourself. That is very, very, very important. So even though I'm basically telling you to blur the lines between someone you've created and yourself, you are not going to want to take on everything. You're going to want to use discernment, okay? What are they carrying? What burdens are they carrying? What are they creating with their hands? What do their hands do? Do they make something? Do they create something? Do they bring something to life with their hands? Are they magical? Do they create from seemingly thin air? Again, chances are these are things that you wish to identify with as well. And you can. These are things that can bleed over. These are things that I want you to start to realize that either you want these things or you admire these things and you want to implement them. We're moving down again. What fills their heart with joy? This is super, super, super important because your heart energy is like a powerhouse. Forget the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell. Your heart energy is like your powerhouse. Technically, your solar plexus is your powerhouse and your sacral, but your heart energy magnetizes things to you. It is like the energy center for attraction, for bringing good experiences into your life. You can do that by focusing on the things that light you up with joy. Again, chances are you've already put some of these things. Maybe you can't enjoy these things, or you feel like you can't enjoy these things. So what do? You're using your creative fictional outlet to express this. So think about it. What fills your character's heart with joy? Is that something you want to bring over? Is that something you want to cross over? What drives them? Once again, we're moving down, and this is actually talking about your solar plexus because that deals with your confidence. What makes them feel confident and driven and motivated? Are these things you wish to identify with? What makes them feel confident? What makes them feel powerful? What makes them feel in charge and control? Again, these are all things that chances are you've already projected onto them based on something you want or admire. So think about these things. What are their goals? Moving down, what is moving them forward? What is keeping them on their path? What is it that you're headed towards, and where are they headed towards, and how can those two correlate? Chances are they can. What footsteps are they trying to stay in? Do they admire someone? Do they aspire to be like someone? Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's someone that they've looked at all their life and just admired, and they want to, walk in their footsteps. Once again, take these things with discernment. If it doesn't feel like it fits you and it's just your character, keep it at just your character. That's fine. But if it does feel like it's you, then in the next portion, I'm going to go into how to bleed that into your reality. And the last thing, what keeps them grounded? Okay, we all have our triggers. We all have our moments, right? We all need something to keep us grounded, to keep us anchored to this earth, to keep us, on our feet, essentially. So, what are those things for your character? Okay, so now we've covered how to do this if you already have a character. Now, if you don't have a character, you are quite literally looking at me with blank expressions, wondering what to do. And I will tell you, thank you for your patience. If you waited through that, chances are you skipped through, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, that's totally fine with me. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm just here to give you the advice that I feel expressively that I need to put out there. So, once again, my experience with this is that anytime that I have allowed myself to blur the lines a little bit and bleed into something that my character is feeling, thinking, doing, representing, etc., I start noticing that those things come to me. Those things are attracted to me. Those things are somehow implemented into my life. It could be the smallest thing, like my character's favorite musician shows up on my For You page or something. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but it's important to recognize that the reason that that's happening is because there's intention. And maybe it's subconscious. And what we're trying to do is make the subconscious conscious. We are trying to bring that to light and shed some light on it. So, if you don't have a character, that's fine. You have a blank slate in front of you. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. As of right now, you can pick and choose and identify and eliminate any aspect of your life that does not serve you. Anything that doesn't feel right, tweak it. Anything that you want to add in, add it. This is your customization menu. This is your moment to sit here with your blank slate and look at your blank character, which is you, and create it and make it yours and make it fit you and make it something that makes you happy, make it something that fully embodies what you want to do with your life and how you want to live. So we're going to go through it again. Now the perception is changing because now we don't have something that we're trying to cross over. If we are crossing over, the best way to do that is to honestly immerse yourself, invest in your character. Don't be afraid to have the same dreams and imaginations that your character has. Don't be afraid to let yourself just really feel into that character. Don't be afraid to be like, well, I really like this. Maybe I could do something like this in my life. Don't be afraid to think that. Don't be afraid to take that chance. Because chances are you subconsciously have already identified with a part of this character. Maybe not the whole parts. Maybe not everything. But if you've ever felt like that, then by all means, go ahead and allow yourself to blur those lines. It doesn't make you delusional. It's your creation. You created it. What's delusional about identifying with something that came from your utmost heart-based creational space? And that's really what I'm here to tell you, is that anything you create, any art, any poem, any song, any painting, it could be a physical creation, it could be a mental creation, an idea, anything that comes from creation energy is yours. You own that. That is yours. You have all the rights. Just as you have the rights to change that character, to scrap it all and start over again, you have the rights to change it. You have the rights to identify with it as well, and nobody ever tells you that. Because why would you do that? It sounds delusional. It sounds a little weird. Like, no, this is my character, it's not me. Well, it could be. And no one polices that. No one says you can't identify with what your character is doing. Maybe that's your way of expressing it, because maybe that's the way that feels the most safe to you. And if that's the case, I understand. It can be daunting to have these big dreams, goals, and aspirations, but feel like you're trapped in a small body that's unable to do them and to implement them. But if you have a fictional space, that can feel safe. That can be where you express that part of yourself. That can be where you identify as XYZ and do this, and this, and have this, and this happening for you. Because you control it and you create it. And the thing that they won't tell you, the thing that no one tells you, is that you're doing that in your real life too. You just don't realize it. A lot of it is subconscious. So just think about it. You're sitting in front of your blank paper now, okay? In just a quick second, we're going to do another body scan. Sorry, it's very hot. I needed some water. All right, so the other part of the body scan is when you have a complete blank slate, head to toe. What are you thinking? And stop there. What are you thinking about the most? What are you ruminating on? I should rephrase this. What are you worrying about? Because if you're worrying about something, you are definitely not moving forward. You are definitely stagnant and stuck in that energy of worry. And you're not going to progress your thoughts any further than past the worry. So whatever you're thinking, stop, consider it, put it through a little filter if you have to. Whatever you want to call it, I want you to, from now on, what do you want to be thinking? What do you want to have be your mental process? What are you identifying with right now that does not belong in that mental stew? What doesn't belong? Get it out of there. What are you seeing? Are you looking forward? Are you looking backward? What are you seeing? Are you seeing the pathway forward, the progression forward? Are you seeing your possibilities? Are you seeing your own potential? Are you seeing the clouds breaking ahead and the sun coming back out? What are you seeing? How are you visualizing, and what is your perspective of it? What are your visions of the future? Really identify with that, and don't be afraid of what it sounds like. Because someone wise once told me this as well. No one's here judging what your dreams, hopes, and goals and aspirations are. No one. No one's judging that. You are the critic for that. So don't be afraid to dream big. Don't be afraid to dream silly. If it makes you feel good and it feels like the right thing to do, dream it. See it. See that in your future. It is in your future. In fact, it's in your now. And I want you to be journaling these things. I want you to be writing them down. What are you thinking now? What are you seeing? What are your visions of the future? What are you hearing? Okay, think about your surroundings. Think about where you live. Think about the people around you. Are you hearing support? Are you hearing criticism? No, not anymore. If you are, not anymore. What are you hearing now? Support, love, recognition. You're hearing these things now. Right? Okay? What do you feel like? What are the overall sensations? Is it fear, anxiety, dread? Nope, not anymore. Hope, aspirations, faith, trust, power. These are all you now. We've put them on your character. We put them on the blank slate. That's you. And once you're done with this whole journal prompt, I promise we're going to tie it together with a nice little bow. What are you saying? How are you projecting your voice into the world? What are you saying about yourself? How can that change? How can that better fit the picture of who you are? Because chances are right now, what you're saying about yourself is what's manifesting. What you're saying about your life, that's what's manifesting, right? Your words are spells. And whether you believe in spells or not, your words are spells. Don't doubt that. What you say matters, especially what you say about yourself, but especially what you say about yourself in regards to your goals and your hopes and your aspirations. What are you feeling? What are you feeling now? What are you feeling? What could you be feeling? Write that down. What do you want to be feeling? Remember those burdens on your shoulders before? We're not putting that on the new character. We're not putting that on your blank slate. You're going to let go of those burdens. Literally with me right now, we're going to take one deep breath and just say one sentence. And I promise it's going to make a world of difference whether you believe it or not. So we're going to breathe in. Breathe out. Say out loud or to yourself, I let go of the burdens that I was carrying. I let go of the burdens I was carrying. That's it. Deep breath. Say that. You'd be surprised how much that can already change. Now, what are you creating with your hands? What are you making? What are you producing in this world? What are you molding into the future? How do you want that to change? Remember, your art, your creation, that is your voice, but that also manifests your world. So think about what you're creating. This one is super important. What makes you happy? What fills your heart with joy? Start following those things, even if it's just one thing a day. Even if it's the most stupid, mundane thing, like I want to get Starbucks today. Go get a Starbucks. I'm just throwing out a random example. I want to go to the park today. Go to the park. Make a point to allow some time in your schedule to do the one thing. And try to do something every day that makes you feel happy. And I promise you'll start to feel lighter and lighter and lighter. And the more you follow these joys and the things that fill your heart up, the more you're going to feel like you're on the right path. And things are going to open up to you. Doorways are going to open up. Opportunities are going to open up. What drives you? What currently moves you forward? Is it just getting up to do the day-to-day? Getting up and working because you have to? That doesn't sound very motivating. Consider what could motivate you. Consider what would motivate you. Journal about that. And that is what motivates you now. That is what you identify with. That is what's pushing you towards your goals. What are you moving towards? What path are you on? Maybe it's not quite the right one. Course correct yourself right now. Right now with this blank slate, course correct yourself. Maybe you have a plan and you fell off the wagon. Okay, I want you to get back in the saddle and get back on the trail. Sometimes they send me slightly channeled messages while I'm giving these messages, and that was definitely one, but that's also a personal connection. Get back in the saddle, get back on the trail. Right? You're not going to go anywhere if you don't get back in it. You're not going to go anywhere if you don't get back on the trail. Maybe you're on the wrong trail. Get on the right one. As of right now, in your blank slate, in your journaling, I'm moving towards this. No longer are you stuck. No longer are you waiting. No longer are you stagnant. No longer are you questioning, doubting, fearing, etc., etc. No, I'm moving towards this. I have completed this. These are the things I want you to write down in the present tense. What are you moving towards? You are moving towards it now. You have completed it now. You are done with it. Everything is good. And as far as who you admire and what footsteps you're trying to follow, be careful with that. Maybe the footsteps that you're following aren't necessarily someone you admire. Maybe the footsteps you're following were just habit or something that was ingrained in you since childhood. Maybe allow yourself to admire somebody who has higher ambitions. Allow yourself to follow in those footsteps. And ultimately, remember to stay grounded. What is something, whether it's an activity or something that you mentally do that makes you feel safe, secure, and grounded? It's really important to still implement those things. If you don't have anything like that in practice, consider it. What could make you feel that way? What might make you feel grounded? What might make you feel secure? Start doing and being these things as well. So, overall, just evaluate this. And you should have written down quite a few notes from this. Even if you're not necessarily getting it all at once, you can do this activity more than once. And I promise you, the more you do this, with or without something to compare it to that's already been created, like a current fictional character, even if you're doing the blank slate, the more you do this, the more it will start to resonate, the more you will feel it real, the more you will actually believe it. You will gradually embody these characteristics. You can take characteristics from someone or something that you've already created and make them yours. You own that right. And if you don't have something created, you can create something today that is your creation. And even if you have to tell yourself that it's fictional because it makes you feel safe, it is still a creation that you've made that you are perfectly capable of manifesting in your real world. Each and every detail. And that is what I'm here to tell you. Your fictional life can be your reality if you allow it to be, if you want it to be, and if you truly strive to identify. Remember, this is the first I, identify. Once we identify who we are, identify what we're not, we imagine a better future, we imagine something different for ourselves, and we implement and we intend, we are going to move mountains in our own self-progression. This is how you can really get a grasp of this and make it fun. This isn't a chore, right? Right. So then, this has been Hazel, and I am signing off for Heart and Soul Take Control. Please continue to follow this podcast if you find this content interesting and you want to know more. And if you'd like to follow me on any other platform, I am on Instagram, Heart and Soul Take Control. And I am going to be putting up various TikToks and other social media throughout. There is no website at the moment, but once there is, I will also be offering PDF downloads as to the 3 I's and other exercises that you can do in order to implement creative writing in your manifesting journey. I'm sending you so much love and light. Thank you for tuning in. Bye!